We begin today with a long overdue action to protect your privacy. The new Digital Charter Implementation Action, if passed, will rewire Canada's privacy laws, and it threatens to hammer companies with big fines who breach your privacy, fines that could reach in the billions. This would also give the Privacy Commissioner, Daniel Terry, new privileges, like ordering a company to stop data collection. So how all is this going to work? Let's find out. The Science, Innovation and Industry Minister, Navdeep Bains, joins us now. Minister, great to have you back on the program.
Thanks very much for having me. Just to put this into
perspective, this has been a long time coming. Can you give our audience an example of a data breach in the past and how that was treated and how this new law, if it gets passed, would change the response?
I think it's important to know that this is meaningful legislation that's going to strengthen privacy legislation in Canada and protect Canadians. And so to your question about previous experiences and going forward, what does this mean? It's about giving Canadians more control over their data. And when that control and the fact that the laws are not respected and the rules are not followed, companies can face significant fines. So for example, in the past, if companies have given your personal data without your consent to a third party, and that's used to manipulate you or other Canadians, they can face serious fines, up to 5% of their global revenues. And for some of these platforms and some of these companies, that could potentially be in the millions, if not billions of dollars.
Okay, but what's the threshold? If they violate the privacy because of a data breach or a hacker of 1,000 Canadians versus 10 million Canadians, how does your government assess the damage, and then who prescribes the level of the fine?
So we've given order-making powers to the Privacy Commissioner, who will be able to investigate the issues around data breaches, around the fact that companies are not compliant or following the rules with regards to the new privacy legislation. And in some cases, if companies are obstructing that process, if they're deliberately trying to sabotage that process, they can face significant fines. So we've given the Privacy Commissioner the tools to look into these issues. We've empowered Canadians with more control over their data, where data can move from one organization to another, simple, plain language consent when it comes to providing Canadians with the tools to accept certain terms, not those 30-page legal documents that are difficult to read. And more importantly, Canadians will have the ability to delete or destroy their information once they forego their consent. And I think that level of control is important. And bottom line is, if Canadians feel like they're not able to control their data and that companies are not following through, then they can work with the Privacy Commissioner, who will make recommendations of the fines to the tribunal that will process those fines.
But so I just want to understand this. I understand that you've given more powers to the Privacy Commissioner. I get that. But so it's a tribunal then that would say this company, and by the way, this company may not even be based in Canada. They may not pay tax in Canada. You know the problem with big tech. Let's say it's, I don't know, Google or Facebook or something.
It's important to know.
How do you enforce that? Yeah, but how do you enforce that? And is it the Privacy Commissioner that says, you know, X company, you owe billions of dollars? Who enforces that?
The tribunal will adjudicate those matters. The Privacy Commissioner will make recommendations what the fine should be. The Privacy Commissioner and his office has the ability to access information, to, again, delete information that companies are collecting without proper consent. Right. And so those powers are with the Privacy Commissioner. He then will make a recommendation to the tribunal that would adjudicate this matter. And so this is an important part of the process. Ultimately, this is about accountability. And when companies know that there's severe consequences, that in Canada, that they will have the strongest fines when it comes to violating the privacy legislation, this will make sure that companies are in compliance with the privacy legislation. Our goal is to make sure.
I understand that. I understand that. But let's just say, like, the tribunal has a lot of powers. It could. Real quick, a big company could be fined billions of dollars if a small business is found to violate privacy. Are small businesses also going to be tagged on this? And do they have a recourse? Let's say they disagree with the tribunal. What's their recourse?
So we recognize that there's going to be some challenges for compliance for smaller businesses. They may not necessarily have the same resources or tools. That is why we're going to provide once the legislation is passed, hopefully in a timely manner, provide those small businesses 12 to 18 months to be able to conform to the new rules. And when it comes to the tribunal, that process is less costly and doesn't require as much time as the courts do. So that's going to, again, help small businesses. And we feel these measures are important to protect our small businesses. And to your earlier point, Evan, doesn't matter if you have a physical presence in Canada. If you operate in Canada and Canadians use your apps and use your platform, you will be subjected to these privacy laws.
Right. They're subjected to them. The enforcement in terms of the monetary issue is going to be different. Minister, just quickly while I have you here, I just want to talk about Pfizer and the vaccine, because Pfizer told CTV News it is deeply concerned about a House of Commons motion that could require the government to release confidential documents. Again, you're the industry minister. Could this impact the distribution of a Pfizer vaccine? And as the industry minister, can't you assure industry that the government can redact documents that are confidential?
I can ensure, or I can convey to Canadians that we will do whatever it takes to make sure that when we get access to a safe and secure vaccine, that we will distribute it in a timely manner, and that we're working with numerous companies and potential vaccine candidates internationally and domestically as well. We've got some of the best portfolio, globally speaking, when it comes to the different types of vaccines that we're supporting and the agreements that we have.
I'm just talking about the confidential. I'm talking about the confidential information. Like, can you assure these drug companies, you're going to work with the Canadian government, they're going to, they have to comply with committee. Don't worry, we have the sophistication to redact documents to provide transparency to Canadians without screwing up your confidential data that could impede the distribution of a vaccine.
Yeah, that's the key point. We will do whatever it takes to make sure that if a vaccine is proven and it is effective, that we distribute in a safe way, and we will do whatever it takes to protect Canadians. That's the ultimate goal. You're absolutely right. There's some challenges right now with the opposition and the games that they're playing, but our objective and our goal is to make sure that we proceed with all the potential vaccine candidates and pursue the distribution in a timely manner. And we're providing those assurances to these companies. But again, we recognize that with the opposition, they're playing some games with this. We're going to be focused on the safety.
Respectfully, accountability and transparency, not a game. It's their job. It's the fundamental instrument of democracy. You can have both accountability and efficiency. I don't know why we're being asked to choose. You know that.
I totally agree with you on that. The point I'm making is that we have been very transparent with Canadians, with the companies that we've engaged with, the different vaccine candidates that we're pursuing, why we're pursuing them. We want to make sure they get the appropriate approvals. So we don't want to compromise that process. That's the point I want to make.
And that's fair. I think we all want to see that vaccine get over whatever hurdles it takes. Hey, Minister Bains, I always appreciate having you on. Thanks for the time, sir.
Thanks so much, Evan.